Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? I'm pretty excited today because I just got off a crazy interview with Mr. Hargrave. We got to know him a little bit better, and I got to introduce my 7 streams of Christmas, wearing my Santa Claus hat here and everything. It was a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed that. But now we're doing Defense Up because that's important to us. We want to know how to... I would say min-max our characters, but it's more of a min-min your characters, because as you all know, defense in war really doesn't matter. You shouldn't be investing in it. I say this all the time, but we still want to put our best foot forward with the garbage that's left over after we've picked our offensive characters out of the list. I don't know why I'm holding this. This is just blank paper. I don't know what I'm doing with that. Anyway, we grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. I like to let people know that you can look down in the description for what teams we're going over. So if you want to skip to a specific team, you can. And there was something else I was going to mention, but now I can't remember it. So let's just jump into this. Team number 1 is a DocOc team. Now, this is a fully developed DocOc team, right? Normally, I would give people a straight up F for this because it's an absolute waste of DocOc. You can come into this team with symbiotes or axemen, absolutely destroy them, and DocOc can be used better on offense. Like, you could take this entire team on offense, which would be a fantastic thing to do, and that's what I think you should do, because NeverMiss Jack has invested in this team and brought them up, and I think he should be using them on offense. So that's the number 1 thing to do for this, for sure. However, I can't really give him a straight up F on this because it is a pretty big team, so it's going to require a medium-sized symbiotes, relatively speaking, to go in and tear this apart. A better thing to do if you're thinking about building a Sinister Six team for defense, 1, don't. 2, build them for offense instead. 3, the best thing you could probably do is use your DocOc as a hybrid. That way you're only investing in 1 character, and you can place the rest of the Sinister Six tunes on defense at almost any level just as a filler team. So unless you're like a late game player and you have lots of resources to do something like this, I recommend you don't. But the most important thing that NeverMiss Jack should be doing is putting his team on offense rather than defense. So, oh wow, we're getting some gifted subs in there. I see that, Rybread, thank you. I have the notifications turned off so it doesn't distract me, although it's still distracting me, so whatever. Anyway, let's take a look at this. If he was to use this on offense, what should he be doing? We've got Striker on Swarm. That's okay. I think I run mine as a Raider. That's not going to matter too much. Everything here is war ready. I like that. Rhino is a Fortifier. I don't really like that. I like him better as a Raider. That's okay, though. Another thing with Rhino is that you can keep him in your back pocket on offense to be subbed in as a flex on certain teams going up against Magneto. That really helps. Over here we got Electro, right? Is that it? Electro? Yeah, she's a Raider. That works too. And then Mysterio as a skirmisher. I prefer Mysterio as a striker because he calls assists and then have lots of skirmishers on your team, and then he gets the triple hit combos or double hit combos, however that works out with his basic clears positive effects, and that's pretty cool. But as a secondary choice, skirmisher is fine. Honestly, this team isn't really specifically designed for any kind of ISOs, so whether you go Raider, skirmisher, or striker, you're going to be fine. I don't think Fortifier is a pick at all, and DocOc is 100% healer all the time, everywhere. So I'm not going to give him a total F for this team, but I do think it should be used on offense. I think it should. I think it could use some tweaks, but at the same time, at this investment level already, there's no point in changing those ISOs. Keep it where it's at. Use it on offense. I'll just go like a D-. It's still pretty big and requires a substantial team to come into it. Hey, look at this, another team that should be on offense. This is a great team, right? It's a really strong defensive team, and but it's even better on offense. They call out a lot of summons that the symbiotes and axemen, again, can jump in on, kill or bring into the red, get some turn meter going and wipe this team out. Also, New Warriors just destroys this team. They're fast, especially if you get like Loki in there or something like that. A lot of these hybrids that use Emma to give that extra speed meter can really cut into these teams and control them before they get going. There's not a lot of cleansing going on with this team, and it happens too late in the game to really help out. So if you can get in fast and control this team, you can destroy it pretty quick. You've got Striker, healer, Striker, healer, skirmisher. I like those. That's good enough. I think Fury should be a Raider, but you've already invested in those ISOs. It's not worth changing. But yeah, he probably should be a Raider. He bounces around a lot. You can get those extra things and crits and stuff like that. So that's probably a better ISO. Your placement's fine. Although Kestrel maybe could go in the middle. She's actually really tough. She's really tough, and she does a lot of self-healing and stuff. I don't think there's any reason to put her on the outside. A better person to put on the outside would probably be Maria Hill. She's a little softer. Fury on the outside is a good one, but honestly, as long as Sam's off to the side, that's probably your best bet. How you have this team built is perfectly acceptable. The amounts of investment in this team is perfectly acceptable. Just move them to offense. This is a killer team, and you can do a lot of fun stuff with them on offense, and they can just be beaten too easily on defense. So for this, I'm just going to give you a C. It is newer, and it is going to catch people up, and it is going to force people to use big, newer meta teams, or at least big symbiotes or Axemen or something, or maybe X. I don't know if X Factor can do it. I haven't tried X Factor. Somebody will have to leave a comment below. Let me know if X Factor works against this team. But yeah, get them on offense. All right, team number 3. Hey, look, there's the new Warriors, which could totally beat the previous team. Okay, so this one is a little bit more acceptable as a defense. They're newer still, and the newer the team is, the more it's going to get you those DVs. You have Hela in there. I think Loki is pretty good too. I think you should probably think about putting Loki in place of Silver Surfer. This team is super powerful. You don't need Silver Surfer on there. It's just making, it's probably actually just bringing up your overall power level, which tends to give people a little bit more pause. They think about it, they bring in a bigger team, they overcompensate. Maybe that'll happen, or maybe they'll just make sure that they kill this team. So I think you should just put Loki in there. It'll be a smaller number, which is actually deceiving if your Loki's underdeveloped like mine is. All you need him to do is spawn in. He's so fast, he might even land that defense down on somebody, which could help you out, but who cares? Cloak's putting out so many negative effects, and with Deathpool spreading them around. So let's take a look. Raiders, Skirmisher, Striker. Okay, that works. Yeah, that works. If you were to put in Loki as a Skirmisher, I think it would be a little bit better setup because you'd have more vulnerables put on the field. You have 3 people putting vulnerables and 2 strikers soaking them up, and that'd be really good. But you're going to get lots of vulnerables on the field with those 2. Cloak is a Skirmisher and Hela is a Raider. They're going to be throwing stuff out there. You should be okay with that. Again, I just think Loki's probably a better fit here. And then you could save Silver Surfer for a different defense elsewhere and spread your defensive roster a little bit thinner. Still get just as much value out of this team because they're going to underestimate that low power, come into it, and get wiped out with the speed of the team. And with Silver Surfer, they're probably, the best case scenario is they're going to punch down into this, kill it for sure, but use a little bit bigger team. So it's kind of, where do you want to land on that one? Otherwise, I like what you're doing. I like your placement. I like the ISOs. I think I'm just going to give you an A- for this one. It's not like a sin to use Surfer here. I just think it's overkill. Team number 4 is an Emmarauders team with Juggernaut instead of Sabretooth. You must be using Sabretooth on a WepX build or something like that. I think your Strife is a little bit underdeveloped. I'd like to see him up closer to like maybe 120 power, like bring him up to gear tier 14 instead of just 13. You get a lot better results. If you're going to take him to 13, you might as well take him to 14 kind of thing. But of course, again, with this team, and I'm telling people this a lot more lately, it's an older team. This team's around the bend, and a lot of people are just breaking this team up altogether. So be hesitant to invest anything in any of these characters. But, you know, if you're serious about it, yeah, take them up to 14. Fortifier's correct. Healer on Mystique is weird. I think you should go Skirmisher level 5 on her and make sure that she's stealing those positive effects and giving them to Sinister. Excuse me. A better choice than Mystique, if you're going to run Juggernaut on this team, you might as well put Mags in here. He's going to pop off that blind real early. It forces them to come in with something like an X Factor Rhino or something to beat this team. Or makes it really challenging with Shadowlands. Shadowlands could beat this team easily the way it is right now, but you throw Mags in and then it gets pretty dicey. Let's see. Sinister, at this point in the game, is not worth investing. We all thought he was going to be like one of those evergreen characters, but it's turning out that he's so slow and there's so many things in the game that are, well, there's Kestrel in the game that's kind of countering him and stuff. He's just not getting the value anymore. I can't tell you to bring him up anymore. Maybe just get the stars on him and I think you'll be okay. As for Juggernaut, he's pretty underpowered, and he's not doing you any favors there. I do like his ISO as a raider, though. So, yeah. I think change the 1 ISO. Adjust your power levels a little bit, like with Strife and maybe with Juggernaut, just a little bit. And then I think you're going to be doing pretty well. You could consider throwing in Magneto, depending on where you have him at. If you don't have Magneto unlocked or built up, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is kind of a filler team at this point also. So, yeah, I think I'll give you a B+ for this. It's not too bad. You're doing good here. Oh, here we go. With WepX, you don't have Omega Red unlocked, so you're using Minerva in here in his place. Honestly, this team kind of sucks without Omega Red, right? I think these characters can individually be placed on hybrid teams to greater effect than putting the 4-piece in here with somebody like Minerva. Unless you have most of the team underdeveloped. Now, you do have actually, for running Minerva in here, you do actually have good power levels because you should be moving Silver Samurai to the outside, and then he's going to be taking some of the hits with his taunt. The others will probably die while Minerva can stay alive. If people are coming into it with the appropriate power level, 350 team, you know, punching across, she's going to stay alive and be able to revive one of them once. And maybe you could get some things to happen. I don't know. I do think that the best course of action is to break this one up and use them on hybrid defenses elsewhere. You know, if you want to throw together like a Hero Brawlers with Wolverine on it, make him a striker. That way he's getting the speed up on his basic assist, right? So he works better on that Hero Brawlers team now. You don't have any ISO on Lady D. That's a sin. You should at least have level 1, right? That doesn't really cost you anything. But honestly, take her up to a war-ready striker. She's got value in the game. She does. She's got some value in the game. She's not a top 10 character by any means. Whether you want to use her in tech raids or not, that's a decision for you. I'm not going to push anybody to do that, but I do think that she's good. That turn meter rewind is very helpful. I like using WepX as an offensive team. I think that you should be working to unlock Omega Red and then use this team on offense. So for the time being, split them up. Maybe throw Sabretooth back on that Emmarauder team, or you could do Sabretooth and yeah, you could do like Sabretooth and Silver Samurai on that team. No, that wouldn't work. I don't really like that. I mean, they're both mutant villains, and so that's helpful with Strife, but I don't know what to do with this. I think you should break it up, though. I don't think it's a great build. It's probably going to get people to punch down into this team because it's so new, and people think, ooh, WepX, that's scary, but without Omega Red, WepX isn't all that scary. So you're not doing bad. You've got the Raider, no ISO here. I'm going to dock you big for that one. Skirmisher on him, I like that because he retaliates a lot. Alternatively, you could do Striker on Silver Samurai. He does some pretty good damage. But I actually, I'm wishing I would have gone the Skirmisher on mine rather than Striker. I think there's a little bit more out of it there. So, yeah, let's give you a C+ for this team. Yeah, I kind of think that maybe just take that Wolverine off and put him on the Hero Brawler team might be a way to go, depending on where the rest of your Hero Brawlers are, your Miss Marvel and stuff. Team number 6, H for H, Raider, Healer, Striker, Skirmisher. Okay, Luke Cage, please make him a Fortifier. He's too slow for that heal to pop off much at all. Fortifier's the way to go there. And Iron Fist works better as a Skirmisher. Although I don't know, with WepX puts out the heal block, that kind of ixnays it too. Yeah, make him a Skirmisher. That vulnerable is gonna give you more benefit than his healing abilities, which are probably either not gonna happen, or if they do happen, it's gonna happen with heal block on the team. Okay. Otherwise, your placement is okay. I think Luke Cage should be to the outside. Yeah, your placement's actually not really good. Okay, so let's go Shredded Cheese, Iron Fist, Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, Luke Cage, something like that. Just yeah, Luke Cage and Bruce Lee over there. They got to be as far apart as possible, and you probably want Iron Fist next to Luke Cage. I think is probably your best. So these ISOs aren't unforgivable. They're just second rate on those two characters. I'm gonna give you a B+ for that team. It's not too bad. Bring it up to 400k, by the way. Make them bring in the Omega Red or the Infinity Watch. Okay, here is a Mercs team. Your placement's a little screwed up. Your ISOs are screwed up. Your power levels screwed up. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, so here's what I'd like to see happen. Let's go Shuri, Killmonger, Riot Guard, Lieutenant, Taskmaster. I think that should be your placement. I think you should change all of your Mercs to Striker and your Taskmaster to Skirmisher, or I think you should change Taskmaster to a Skirmisher and maybe put some of them to Striker. I just think that Raider is a terrible choice. He's throwing out some extra vulnerables. You got 2 people putting vulnerables out there and no strikers on the field, so that's the ISOs just aren't working. Riot Guard doesn't need Fortifier. At the power level that you have your Lieutenant, at the power level that you have your Killmonger, I would suggest putting Fortifier on those guys. Otherwise, bring up their power levels, make up Strikers, make Taskmaster Skirmisher. That way you're getting triple hit combos off of it. And then if your power level gets up on your overall power level, that's the wrong screen, sorry. If your overall power level gets up over 4, maybe even 500, consider putting Ultimus in on this team in place of Shuri. Shuri can be used elsewhere on other hybrid defenses. She's a good tune. We're finding uses for her in all sorts of places. It's amazing how she continues to stay slightly viable in the game with all these new metas. Yeah, I don't like what you're doing here. I think you're completely wasting your Taskmaster. I think your ISOs are a mess, your power levels are a mess, and your placement's a mess. I'm going to give you a D+ for that team. I think a cat's been in my room because my nose is itchy. All right, Black Order with some pretty decent power levels. Normally I'd say run Black Order on offense, but honestly they're kind of rounding that point when we've got enough offensive teams and Black Order's kind of stubborn and you kind of got to use some certain teams to beat them. But I use my Black Order to beat your Black Order is how I normally do it. But you could leave these guys on defense. I would like to see you go ahead. I mean, honestly, this team is still pretty good. If you can spare the gear, take them all to 14. Otherwise, you know, pretty much leave them as they are. The biggest mistake that you've got going on here, your placement is questionable, but the biggest mistake that I see is that you've got healer on Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw doesn't have healing in his kit. He has health steal, which isn't affected by the healer ISO. So you need to change him to a skirmisher, preferably a level 5 skirmisher. That really helps when people bring in something like a Phoenix, because then he definitely sticks that ability block to her, and it'll really help out there. Yeah, exactly. Chat's saying the same thing. Healer on Maw is useless. Yeah, so that's good. Go ahead and make them war ready, or at least Proxima needs to be war ready, and then, you know, you got yourself a team to go on. I kind of like Thanos next to Cull Obsidian. It's pretty minutiae, wherever you want to let that go. For this team, I mean, I really do hate that healer ISO on there. It bothers me a lot. I'm going to give you a B for this defense. Team number 9 is Wave 1 Avengers. What the heck is going on with your placement? Now, I see some wonky placements with this team, but this one takes the cake. You have Black Widow over here. She goes invisible, so she stops chain attacks from going through, other than with symbiotes or something like that. But she stops chain attacks because she goes invisible. Why do you have her off to the other side? You're basically forcing your chain attacks to go over into Hawkeye, who is the weakest member of this team and won't even have a chance to throw out any blinds. Not that they'd stick because you don't have him at level 5 skirmisher, which he kind of needs to really make those blinds stick anyways. Your Thor is off to the side. He's the biggest member. He's the one who could take a hit and kind of rack up some of that turn meter for the Hulk. So here's what I suggest. Let's swap places with the Hulk and Black Widow. Swap places with Thor and Hawkeye. Try and bring up the power levels on this team to a little bit more of an equal setting, especially Hulk and probably Captain America, those those tanks. You want Hulk to try and resist a stun if they come in here with somebody who stuns him or disrupts him or something like that. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, your ISOs are good. I like Thor as a raider. Yeah, this is really good. Make him war ready, at least. Maybe take Hawkeye up to ISO 1.5. Fix that placement. And then, you know, when it comes to the evening out the power levels, this is an older team too. They're going over the hill for the second time. So, you know, don't go crazy investing in them or whatever. It's becoming a pretty filler team also. But, you know, I think you got the ISOs right. That placement is just absurd. So fix that. I'm going to give you, actually, I'm going to give you a B- for this team. Placement's just so weird. I've never seen that one before, that kind of placement. All right, and team number 10, here's a filler team for sure. It's your leftover Guardians, which are totally uninvested in and should be uninvested. They are a garbage team. You have Healer on Groot. Groot's better as a skirmisher. He gets called for lots of assists, and he does have healing in his kit, but it's not much. It's pretty minuscule, and he's kind of slow. So change it to a skirmisher. Rocket on this team as a raider is good. If you're going to use the three-piece of Groot, Rocket, and Star-Lord, then he should be a striker. And Star-Lord should be a striker, and then Groot a skirmisher to get those triple and quadruple hit combos off of that three-piece. But when you're running the whole Guardians team with Antenna Girl there in Drax, then yeah, Raider's probably a better choice. Skirmisher on Star-Lord kind of helps too. Although you don't have any strikers on this team, so what's the point of getting all those vulnerables on the field? Yeah, you should probably switch Star-Lord to a striker. Get a little bit of a damage boost on him. Although, again, this team isn't really worth investing in, right? Just throw him in the slot and let him sit there. You might actually consider... you could... Man, I don't even know what to do with this team other than just leave it. Really, just leave it alone. I don't want you to spend any more resources on fixing it up than you already have. It's just not worth it. They're too old. I mean, they're the way the new tunes are moving away from this old version here. These guys are comparable to Ravagers almost at this point. Like, they're really, I mean, that might be a little bit much, but who knows? If we get T'Challa Star-Lord, maybe the Ravagers will get reworked too. We don't know. Yeah, this is a tough call. I hate telling you to even invest in this team. They don't have enough power to bother changing the ISOs. They don't have the right ISOs, so why power them up? They don't beat anybody, so, you know, why invest? But, you know, you need something to fill, especially if you're going to be taking those previous teams off of defense. You know, you got to have something in these defensive slots. So I don't like where you've invested in your ISOs. I do like that you haven't overinvested in a garbage team as far as their gear and their levels and stuff like that. So that's okay. I'm going to give you a C- for this team. You haven't made too many big mistakes. You're kind of in the ballpark on some of those ISOs. It's just kind of a tough spot to be in. It's just really a filler garbage team. All right, this has been NeverMiss Jack's Defense Up video. His review of his defensive lineup. If you like what you saw, subscribe for more of these videos. If you're interested in having your teams debuted on Defense Up, then by all means, meet me in Discord. Links in the description. Just at me anywhere there and let me know, and we'll get you put up on these videos. I'm working on trying to take care of this backlog. I was hoping to do more videos this week, but I probably won't. I'm kind of running out of time. Yeah, I appreciate you guys showing up. I really do. I have a lot of fun making these videos, and so thank you. Remember, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I will catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.